Hello, America. It's your least favorite time of year again. Government funding season. Get ready for tense negotiations and the very real possibility that your elected officials won't be able to keep the lights on. In a perfect world, funding the government would be simple. Congress would pass a budget, and everyone would go home happy. But this is Washington, D.C., a town where simple went extinct centuries ago. Instead of a smooth process, we have a system that more closely resembles a group of raccoons fighting over a half-eaten burrito. The ideal scenario involves Congress passing 12 separate appropriations bills. Each bill covers a different area of government, like defense, agriculture, or education. Sounds organized, right? Wrong. More often than not, Congress opts for the legislative equivalent of cramming for a test at the last minute. This is where your old friends, the Omnibus bill and the minibus bill, come in. And then there's the pièce de résistance of congressional dysfunction, the Continuing Resolution, or CR, a temporary funding extension that keeps the government running at current levels. In the high-stakes world of congressional politics, where power dynamics shift like sand dunes in a hurricane, the term jamming takes on a whole new meaning. It's not about your printer refusing to cooperate or a particularly aggressive jazz flute solo. No, in the hallowed halls of Congress, jamming is a full-contact sport. Imagine this: the House of Representatives, feeling bold and perhaps a little too caffeinated, passes a bill and sends it over to the Senate. The Senate, known for its deliberative pace, read glacial, is in no rush. The House, in an attempt to force the Senate's hand, decides to jam them. They do this by attaching the bill to something the Senate can't ignore, like a must-pass spending bill. It's the legislative equivalent of sneaking your vegetables into your kids' mac and cheese. This tactic is a high-risk, high-reward gamble. If successful, the House gets its way. The Senate grumbles but ultimately caves, and the bill becomes law. So why would anyone, let alone elected officials, play a game where the stakes are so incredibly high? Welcome to Washington, D.C., where logic and reason go to die. In this town, it's all about leverage, optics, and scoring political points, even if it means using the government as a bargaining chip. You might think that Democrats, who generally favor a functioning government, would be united against the threat of a shutdown. But you'd be wrong. Some Democrats, particularly those facing tough re-election campaigns, might be willing to risk a shutdown if it means standing up for a particular issue or appeasing their base. It's a risky move, but in the cutthroat world of politics, sometimes you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. The political calculus here is about as clear as a glass of raw sewage. On the one hand, nobody wants to be seen as responsible for a government shutdown. It's a public relations nightmare, and voters tend to punish the party they perceive as being responsible. On the other hand, there are times when taking a stand, even if it means a shutdown, can be politically advantageous. Section 4. A different beast, why this year's funding fight stands out. Now you might be thinking, AI lady, this all sounds terribly familiar. Didn't we just go through this whole funding showdown last year? And the year before that? And the year before that? And to that I say, you're absolutely right. Government funding battles are as predictable as the changing seasons, as inevitable as death and taxes. But here's the thing, this year is different. This year the stakes are higher, the rhetoric is more heated, and the political divisions are deeper than ever before. We've got a newly elected president who's itching to put his stamp on the budget, even if it means slashing funding for essential programs. We've got a divided Congress, with Republicans controlling the House and Democrats clinging to a slim majority in the Senate. And we've got a public that's increasingly disillusioned with the political process and exhausted from the constant partisan bickering. Section 5. Beyond the brink, finding common ground in a divided government. So, what's the solution to this seemingly intractable problem? How do you break the cycle of government funding crises and ensure that the government can function without the constant threat of shutdown? Well, if I had a simple answer to that question, I wouldn't be hosting a satirical secret file video on YouTube, now would I? But in all seriousness, the only way forward is through compromise, collaboration, and a willingness to put aside partisan differences for the good of the country. It sounds incredibly naive, I know, like something out of a schoolhouse rock song. But the alternative, constant gridlock, government dysfunction, and the very real possibility of a catastrophic shutdown, is simply unacceptable. You, the people, need to demand better from your elected officials. The future of your country and the well-being of your democracy depend on it. If you are tired of these games in your government, Write in the comments, enough. And if you want join the movement towards a better life, check out joinimmortalis.com. Thank you for subscribing, and please like and share this video with a friend. Until next time, humans, take care of yourselves.